All right, voiceover Irene here. I've got a hot beverage, specifically Bigelow's Constant Comment black tea with Splenda and powdered creamer. Yum. And I think I'm ready to roll. It's another collage session in the Antiquarian sticker book, the third to be exact. I like to use themes. So the first one was vaguely about summer, and the second one was Alaska. This time it's France. When producer Mike got me this book a year ago, I was a little stumped on how I was going to use it. And so far, I'm having fun collaging in it. I can usually find stickers inside that match my themes, so that's convenient. During the preparation stage, I went through my stashes and pulled out stuff that fit the theme, most of which ended up in the spread, but there was some stuff I just couldn't find space for. It was handy that I actually had pieces that were specifically France related, such as the lovely wrapping papers covered with French text. Those were from Daiso, so very inexpensive. Much of the rest came from AliExpress. In the past, I've edited the heck out of these collage videos, so they'd be short and sweet. But this time, I'm taking a different approach. I'm going for a more relaxed experience by using fewer cuts and allowing for a longer runtime. There are many times when I put on a video just to have something going on in the background, as I do other things. Often it's videos about traveling, but sometimes it's arting or cooking. Some of these pieces are from old magazines, ones that would have been donated or gone into the recycling bin. But since I've started collaging, I went through them and tore out what I thought I could use. Those pieces ended up in a small accordion-style file. I'd like to check out some thrift stores and maybe an antique mall to find more old magazines. The thing is, whenever I go to those places, they always want more than I'm willing to pay. You'd think they'd be cheap, right? Not always the case. Regardless, it would be fun to browse. Plus, I want to look for storage pieces to hold my fountain pens and ink bottles. I thought I could repurpose an old jewelry box of mine, but after ripping out the dividers and the padding, I realized this isn't ideal. The upside was I found that a couple of rings my BFF gave me years ago now fit my pinkies perfectly. Why this theme? France is one of those bucket list destinations I'd like to visit sometime. The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, Notre Dame, Disneyland Paris, the huge. There's a mature couple who have a YouTube channel called Les Frenchies. They used to live in the US, then moved to France. So the videos show lots of French food, visiting advice, locations of interest, culture, more French food, and so on. That's been fun. I guess there are river cruises in France, and Lyon is one of the stops. So I'd finally get to fulfill my lifelong dream of having Lyonnaise potatoes. But when I think of river cruises, it's usually in Germany. And that would work because any trip to Europe would have to include Germany, since producer Mike has family there. He already watches every upload from the Frankfurt food vlogger Cooking the World. I'm sure the fact that she's a pretty young blonde has nothing to do with it. The impression I've gotten about river cruises is that their schedules are very regimented, which is how I expect land tours are. I haven't been on either, so I can only imagine. If you want breakfast, you go to the dining room at 8 for crepes and coffee like everybody else. And on your return from the city, it's coq au vin at 7, some dire evening entertainment. Then everybody goes to bed at 10. Yeah, at least that's how I imagine it. Yeah, I'm curious about the experience. I think it would be fun, but back when I had more energy for activities, I doubt I could handle it now. I'd still go, though, and if the guided tour segments are too much, I'd just do my own thing. Like find a sidewalk cafe, order some wine, and try tipsy plein airing. That's got to be a thing, right? I mean, that should be the default excursion. Some of my previous spreads have been better planned out. Well, I should say that more time was spent on the planning stage. I can't say the results were better. I like the randomness of this one. Speaking of random, it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago that I saw a French animated film, A Monster in Paris. It was streaming on one of the services, and it had a bit of everything: comedy, drama, adventure, romance, science fiction, and musical numbers, including the show-stopping La Seine, very loosely based on Gaston Leroux's Phantom of the Opera. It was a bit of a jumble, but still enjoyable. Around the same time, I watched another French animated film, Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart. Although all around more serious, it has a lot of charm too. I've previously spoken of the triplets of Belleville, so I'm just name dropping it here to round out this grouping of French animated movie recommendations. I guess I should talk about cheese, or fromage. Not that I dislike cheese, I just don't have a broad experience with fancy varieties. I mean, I enjoy provolone and Gouda as much as the next gal, but I've yet to experience fondue. And at this point, it scares me because I don't understand how it works. Sure, the whole melting cheese in a pot concept is simple enough, but when you bring long handled, two pronged forks into play, I'm lost. Are you supposed to spear each bite one by one from communal bowls, or pile a mound on your own plate and go from there? And is it proper to eat directly from the fork that's going to go back into the cheese pot? Or is it better to go two-fisted with a second fork? Then there's the danger element, with everybody jabbing pointy things at the same target. It's just all so confusing, and probably expensive to boot. I know, where's my sense of adventure, right? Just give me some nice raclette, where the weaponry is mostly limited to the professionals. That would be thrilling enough for me. I've gotten a lot of mileage out of graph paper. I use it for everything, designing house plans, sketching out painting ideas, writing lists and notes, and now collaging. I wanted some kind of interactive element. This is pretty simple. It's just a layered card to tuck inside a corner pocket. I have no idea what sort of flowers those are, but they looked French to me. And those tweezers are new. Some months ago, I had purchased some very cheap tweezers from the dollar store, and they were not doing the job. They were flimsy, and I was unhappy with them. But last month, a relative gifted me these Sizzix brand tweezers. I have no idea how he knew I needed a good pair of tweezers. I mean, I'm pretty sure I wasn't going around complaining about inferior tools. Sizzix is a brand that's popular in crafting circles, and they aren't cheap. So I'm pleased with this tool. It's a big improvement over the other one. How good do tweezers need to be? Well, if you've ever plucked your eyebrows, you wouldn't ask that question. Thing is, they need to be strong enough so that whatever you're trying to grab doesn't slip through the pincers. You might think that a precision tool would be unnecessary for this type of work, and that's probably true, but I found it very helpful for placement and really useful for those hard to peel stickers. I mean, I'd rather get it done easily in a few seconds rather than struggling and getting sticker rage. You'll see that I used the tweezers quite a bit in this video. So, yeah, I'm glad I have it. I just wish I could think of a use for the dollar store tweezers. Something other than fishing tea bags from mugs, that is. I may have overdone it with the Eiffel Towers. There's one, two, three. I thought there were more. I guess it just felt like they were out of control. I wish I had food stickers. Actually, I did find one. That'll show up later. But I wish I had more food stickers, because food is a big part of why I dream about traveling. I don't just want to be there, I want to eat and drink there too. Although German was the foreign language I chose to study in school, through the years I've had haphazard and rudimentary instruction in French, and by now I've forgotten the bulk of it. But I recall in junior high our exploring foreign languages class threw a party where we got to try a lot of new to us foods. It's a bit vague, but I think there were dishes from Spain, Italy, Germany, China, Japan, and Russia. But what I remember most was the platter of escargot. We were all young teens, so many opted out of that experience. I ate one and thought it tasted fine, mostly like garlic and butter. But there was one fellow who decided to show off by snarfing down a dozen, bragging the entire time. Later that day, I heard he'd been spotted hurling in the boys' lavatory. I found myself getting unreasonably irked by those couple of postagey pieces because they were not stickers. I'd spent quite some time trying to peel a backing from one of them, and then I had to apply my own adhesive. Ugh, the audacity. There are non-animated French films I like. I won't go over all of them, but I have to mention my favorite, which is Amelie. I want to do a future spread inspired by that film, and especially by Amelie's apartment. So lots of red and green. I like other movies by the same director, Jean-Pierre Jeunet. He did Delicatessen and City of Lost Children. I understand he has something new coming to Netflix in February. Big Bug? I've only seen a teaser trailer, but I'm intrigued. Fortunately, I have a framed movie poster of City of Lost Children. In the 1990s, I was able to purchase the poster for, I think it was $4 at the annual Seven Gables movie poster sale in Seattle. Then I got a family member to frame it for me for free. The Seven Gables was an art house theater that was destroyed by fire a couple of years ago. I never saw a movie there, but in 2001 I got to see Amelie at the Grand Cinema, which is one of Tacoma's art house theaters. Yeah, those movies didn't get a wide release around here. See, there's a baguette. I found a food sticker. That's a Harlequin, which is not just the name of a DC Comics character. I understand Harlequin has been around at least since the 1600s. I often get Harlequin and Pierrot confused with each other. Pierrot is another costumed clown-like character, but he wears all white or white with black, whereas Harlequin wears a multicolored diamond pattern. Look, I'm not an expert on old world pantomime stock characters, but I'm 90% positive that's Harlequin. I think this is the busiest spread yet. There wasn't enough room to write my favorite French song titles, such as Non, je ne regrette rien, La vie en rose, C'est si bon, and Fou de Fafa. So much for no regrets. But these pages have limited real estate. Each one is a mere 6 inches by 8 inches. I don't know how those other channels do it. Well, actually, I do know. It's because they're minimalists. Here I am with stuff hanging off the edges, and there they are laying 4 items in the center of a page. I want to yell out, "You're not done. You've got all that blank space left." Oh man, I need to cut back on my YouTube viewing. I'm happy to share this French spread with you. It may lack je ne sais quoi, but it makes up for it with beaucoup chaos. Until next time, stay artsy, mes amis.